Hello, and welcome back to Season 5 of the Fresh Finds Podcast, the show about discovering new music with good people. I'm Ryan, and this episode I'm joined by some of the folks from the Lakeshore Emo band 10monthsummer. How are we doing, guys?
Feel good.
Good to hear, good to hear.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Of course, absolutely. Do we want to go around real quick and everybody introduce themselves so that we get a sense of your voice for anybody who is not listening to the video, and just kind of introduce yourself and say what you do in the band?
That sounds good.
Yeah. I was going to say, who wants to go first?
What are we doing?
I was pointing at you, Charlie.
Oh, me? Yeah, I am Charlie. I play rhythm guitar in the band. If you're on Twitter, I'm the one usually...
Oh, God.
We lost him.
Well, we're...
Is Charlie now canceled?
Off to a good... We were off to such a good start. Not really, but...
Damn.
Stream 10monthsummer so we can get Charlie better Wi-Fi.
Yeah, for
That's
real.
what this episode's going to be about.
Computer just crashed. Oh, God.
Oh, incredible.
Okay, so do we want to wait for him to get back, or do we want to just kind of keep rolling, and when Charlie gets back in, we'll just let him introduce himself when he gets back?
We could probably do the intros.
Yeah, we can roll the intros when he returns.
Cool. Perfect. Yeah.
He knows who we are.
Yeah.
I would hope so. So who wants to go first
I'll go
then?
next.
All right.
Hello, CO. My name is Scumdrop. I play the bass. I use they, them pronouns. Sometimes I do a little singing, sometimes a little dancing.
My name's Nish. I sing in the band, and I write the words, and I'm the one that's always tweeting stupid shit on our Twitter account.
And then I'm Sam. I play lead guitar in the band, and then I don't ever tweet anything stupid. All of the things I tweet are very smart and well thought out in advance with the repercussions they could have.
Lovely. The smart person in the band.
And then also not here right now is Luke, who is our drummer and has so far produced the main chunk of our work, with the exception of Scumdrop doing some mixing and production help too as well. But so far it's just been us doing it.
Cool.
Nobody else in terms of the recording process.
I love to see people do all their stuff in-house. It's a fantastic thing to see, with especially with DIY bands. Do you guys want to kind of give like a little bit of history on the band, how you formed, how you found each other, just anything like that?
Sure, yeah. I'll let Sam and Scumdrop kind of describe their entry into the band throughout the history. But we formed pretty quickly in March of, it's been 2 years now. So March of 23, we just turned 2 years old about a week ago.
Really? Wow,
after
that's crazy.
Luke and I, it doesn't feel like that long, but also it does feel like that long. But Luke and I were in a band prior that just kind of fizzled out after almost a 10-year run. We just it was our college band, didn't really do too much with it, just played shows for fun. But then through the midst of getting through COVID and some other life changes, we sat down one day and we're like, hey, let's start another project. Then Sam, Scumdrop, and Charlie came on board, and I can let them tell their piece of it, how they got involved.
Cool.
Sam.
Yeah, I can go first.
Cool.
Yeah, I had just moved to the city from Texas, and I think July of 20.
Is that where you're from originally?
Yeah, I'm from Texas. I'm from the Texas Panhandle. I grew up in a little city called Amarillo, and
Gotcha.
yeah, there's not much there, but but yeah, so I moved up after graduating college. My girlfriend got into grad school up here, so we moved up here together. And then I was just I really had wanted to be in a band for a long time, and I was already in two bands at the time 10monthsummer started, and I was in a Facebook group for kind of the DIY scene here, and I saw Nish make a post on there and responded to it because the influences and the genre stuff, shoegaze and emos, seemed like stuff I wanted to play. And so I sent them I sent Nish a track that I recorded at some point, kind of right after I'd moved to Chicago, and waited about I feel like 2 or 3 months. Never heard anything back, and then just randomly got an email saying, "Hey, do you want to come try out?" And I was like, "Okay, sure." And then I worked on the songs a little bit beforehand, and was kind of very nervous about trying out for a band, but everybody was very nice and took me in with open arms, and so it's been around since.
And around what time was that? So that was, I assume, 2023 as well, but a little bit later.
It was a little before.
Oh, okay.
So the reason why Sam it took a while to get to Sam is because we knew we wanted to have some shit done first before we got a lead guitarist. Because like I feel like that's like trying to run a lead part over like nothing sometimes is really difficult. And like I won't speak too hard for Luke, but I know I myself am like I don't play instruments. I'm not a very strong songwriter, and so like we wanted to have some content before we brought a lead guitarist in, being like, hey, like, can you be the one that writes the lead parts? But if we have nothing to like see how they work, then like it's a waste of their time and ours too. So through like January and February, we were building the initial, like we were just getting people together, and then Sam joined, and then Scumdrop can tell their piece too. But soon after, Scumdrop joined as well. But like March is when like we had all 5 pieces together and said, this is the band, this is the name, and what it's going to be.
Gotcha. Okay, so origins and like kind of starting stuff was actually a little bit earlier, but kind of like officially, this is the band, this is us, was in March. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and then it's kind of the same deal with me. I saw, actually, my partner sent me a link from Reddit about Nish, putting out an ad, basically looking for a bassist. And I had been living in Chicago for about just like under a year at that point.
So was this on like a specific like Chicago subreddit?
Yeah, I want to say it was the Chicago music scene subreddit.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the posts. I think it was on Chicago music scene.
Gotcha.
Yeah. There's a couple like subreddits in there, but yeah.
You said that you had just moved to the area as well. Where were you from originally?
Originally, I am from Iowa.
Oh, okay.
A place called Cedar Rapids, but I was living in Kalamazoo for 3 years before I moved to Chicago.
Oh, all right, cool. So you've kind of been all around the Midwest then.
Yeah, I've lived in a few big cities since Iowa, but I've liked Chicago the most.
Gotcha. Are you all in Chicago proper, or are a lot of you guys like out in the suburbs and things like that?
Proper.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we're all in Chicago proper.
Nice. I know that some people claim to be a Chicago band, but they're not technically from Chicago, and Chicago people are not too happy about that.
Yeah,
we hate those people, have a real problem with them, and would like them to come to our home address and talk things out.
Talk out over tea.
That was the IRL sensible tweet from Sam. With no repercussions.
Well versed, well thought out.
So when kind of the band started, were you starting to play like shows and things like that way before you started releasing music?
Yeah. I mean, our first show was May, I think. So like just 2 months after we like cemented ourselves as like a band. And like in fact too, like when 10-month-summer was born, we had an original bassist named Scott, who is a wonderful person, just no bad blood there. But as we were like starting to write and stuff, Scott had some life changes and realized like, oh, like I actually like you guys are like gonna do some stuff, and like I can't commit to it, and I don't want to like get too deep into it, and then like like fizzle out. So like that's when we started looking for another bassist, and that's when Scumdrop came on. And within like just a month's notice, like I believe Scumdrop like joined the band, and we played our first show. And in that time, we had written like 5 or 6 songs, which was pretty prolific for 5 people who like basically don't know each other musically.
For sure.
And yeah, so we just had like the demo tape we saw, like we had some of those demos out, and that was really all we had before going into that first show. And then as you can check our timeline, December of 23 is when we put out Destiny Bond, and then Fate, some singles, 24, and then Fate Lines last year. And Charlie's back.
Hey,
hopefully he can
Charlie.
introduce himself.
You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sorry. I'm Charlie. I'm the one having technical difficulties. I play guitar in the band. And I was going to say earlier was if you're on Twitter, I'm the one who's typically threatened by Nish to get kicked out of the band most days. So
I have seen that happen more than once.
more than once. Oh, it's
Yes.
almost a weekly occurrence.
And,
What are you talking about?
and do you want
We said we wouldn't talk about
that? And do you want to talk about kind of like how you joined the band, how you got involved in all of this?
Yeah. I was living in Georgia, and then I moved up to Chicago. I bounced all over the country playing in bands, and when I got to Chicago, having come from Georgia where no one played the type of music I liked, I was like, you know what, I'm going to look for people. I'm going to look for folks. And I saw Nish and Luke's it was Reddit post, I believe, saying that that they were looking for some folks, and so I was one of those weirdos on Reddit who responded and was like, sounds like a lot of similar overlapping bands. I think Nish and I have a pretty close, our Venn diagrams bordering on a circle of bands that we like. So it just worked out really well. And from the first time I joined, it just things seemed to click. And he hasn't officially kicked me out yet. So I mean, we're doing pretty well. Basically 2 years later.
Nice. Yeah, it is crazy that it's almost 2 years now. Nish, you were starting to get to like playing your first show as a band in May. At that point, you had written 5 songs. What is the the songwriting process look like for this band, and like has it changed a whole lot since then, or has it kind of like stayed pretty similar?
I'll let the people that play the instruments answer this one first for sure, because I think like they're the most important piece of what we sound like. I just add some squawking at the end.
Don't sell yourself too short.
He shouldn't, because it's a critical part, probably one of our most important. But I'd say the only consistency in our songwriting is that it's inconsistent in how things start. There have been guitar ideas from our drummer Luke, who isn't here. There have been riffs that Sam's brought, that I've brought, that we've just been like Sam goofing around in practice, and all of us stop and point and say, hey, keep playing that, and let's just loop and see what we can do with that. So it kind of comes from all over the place. And I don't think it's not the typical like one of us brings in a full song idea, but I think we do write a bit more outside of practice, and then when we come to practice, we can see what we jam on and what seems to click with everyone. I don't know, Sam, Scumdrop, what are your thoughts there?
We write in like a very, I feel like, riff based way, which is like kind of, for me, it goes along really well with the way I play, because I like to, I'm not really great with like chord progressions or things like that. I just like writing little riffs that I think are fun to play. And yeah, I feel like we usually have some sort of riff. Usually it's a guitar riff from either me or Charlie, that it's, if we like it enough, we'll say, hey, let's write something around this, and then we kind of extend from there. And then usually starts with a guitar riff, and then from there the big thing that I think has changed with our songwriting process from like when we started is that we try to be more thoughtful about how we structure our songs.
Oh,
at first
gotcha.
we just kind of threw things together much more quickly and haphazardly, which works pretty well and like isn't necessarily like a bad way to write songs. I like it. But now we've really been trying to work on, if there are 2 parts that don't fit together like super seamlessly, or like, hey, let's add a transition here to make things flow better, instead of just kind of like sticking them together with glue and hoping it doesn't fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
I think that makes sense. Yeah,
we've been working on just trying to be more intentional with our song structures and things like that.
Yeah, and I feel like I can throw something on a partially completed kind of like demo, if you want to say that.
Mm-hmm.
So if like Charlie has an idea or Sam has an idea, and then either will fill in the space, and then usually I think Nish can pretty quickly put lyrics together, or already has things together, and kind of just like goes through like different lyric ideas he has. And then usually Luke will just come in with some sort of rhythm, some sort of pattern, and then it's really easy for me to kind of like find the space that isn't being used and kind of fill that with the bass, but also keep things like structurally, foundationally, intact.
That's one of the things that I really appreciate about you as a bass player is that you have a really good knack for doing not overplaying, but still doing really interesting things that like can add a little bit of counter melody here and there, as well as still know when to kind of drop more into the background and just kind of like lay down, the foundation.
Thank you.
And
Yeah, I think it's.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to prompt you.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think it's really cool that like I agree with Sam that we're a riff band, but I think that a lot of people I think when the EP dropped, we're surprised that includes our bassist as well. I mean, like I think like if you think like I Get It, You're Scared, like that's like a bass riff song, even though Sam and Charlie also have some like really cool fucking moments on that song. Like I remember when we wrote that song, I was like, this bass line's like disgusting. Like this is gonna like this is like I was like this is untouchable. Like this is so good. But yeah, I think like everyone just brings some really cool stuff to the board, and what I've loved like we've basically written EP2, and now we're starting to think about what an LP looks like we're in the process of recording EP2, and I think what's been interesting in these last 2 years is that like we've also learned each other, in the, like what the capabilities of we all have. So like now sometimes like we'll be writing a song and like Sam will be like, yo, hey Luke, like maybe play this kind of fill instead to go on with the riff instead of like what you're doing right now, right? And never in a way that like we feel like I don't think like treading on each other's toes, being like I know your instrument or your instinct better than you, but like I think when we bring parts, we feel passionate about them too, and so we can help guide each other into like finding the like, emotive and musical center of like what that moment in time or what that measure, riff, whatever is about. And it's been cool to come to a more collective like pruning versus before being like, oh my god, we're just a new band, like if we write a song, god bless, you've done it, and I feel like you will definitely see that on EP2 compared to even Fate Lines, which I think is biasly a pretty strong first release from a bunch of folks who've really getting to know each other.
No, I would have to agree for sure. It's definitely like, that's one of the things that I really like about it is that it is very coherent as a project, but also touches on kind of some different ideas and stays fresh throughout the entire length of it. One of the things that I'm curious about, because you did have such a long gap between the first three singles, which came out late 2023 and then early 2024 before the actual EP came out in December. So was a lot of that where you guys recording different songs and kind of trying to figure out what the track list of the EP was going to be? Or was it just kind of getting everything produced and ready that took that long? Like, was there a reason that you sat on it for so much longer than like most people probably would?
I think one thing is that like, and I'll take the onus on this, is that like we just like really overbooked ourselves last year. Like we played a fuck ton of shows last year.
Oh, gotcha.
And like like that just takes a lot of time because we are 5 adults who have like involved personal lives, who have like like work we're doing and school we're doing too, and so like we only practice like once a week, if that sometimes, and then like we have to get studio time outside of it. And also like Luke, who is the one doing most of the work, like also is just like one human taking on the burden of getting 5 different tracks and layers and all these into the room, right? And it's also like last year like had their dog pass away, then got a new dog. It gets engaged, is planning a wedding currently, so like it was mainly like, hey, like you take the time you need, and like when it's ready, and we'll put it out. Like we definitely wanted to get it out sooner than later, didn't want too long of a gap, but we recently just had to talk about how like all of us collectively, like I think we are going to choose to possibly outsource some of the mixing and mastering for EP2. One, because we have heard some people we like and we trust them, and two, we because we played a fuck ton of shows, we have some money now to actually do that.
There you go. Yeah.
And so I think I think we can safely say you'll see a faster progression, at least of like the next batch of songs come out from us for sure. Like I don't think it's going to be like 2 years before you see EP2. Like fingers crossed, we won't say any dates, but like if we can get it out by end of year, that'd be great. But there's some stuff, some coals in the pipeline we're cooking for sure. But I do think we're going to take some concerted time for LP1 to make sure that like we're not just throwing out stuff thrown out. But
yeah, for sure.
But we definitely like wanted these out ASAP.
Yeah, I will say that along that line, though, you mentioned like playing a lot of gigs last year and things like that. I think especially when you're new, though, that is just as important, if not more important than actually releasing music, is getting well known within your scene and being able to book more and more shows and, you know, start playing some bigger rooms and things like that, for sure.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, we had some cool opportunities. Like we opened for Wheatus, we opened for Trophy Eyes, like some crazy stuff for, you know,
Yeah.
a band so young. And we're extremely grateful for it. And I think that I think a lot of it too is like we put Destiny Bond out. Like, we got one track out. We have the demos out at least. Like, let's, you know, like we are like a band that likes to have fun live for sure. And I mean, you know, I think that anyone who sees us can hopefully agree that like we don't like it doesn't matter if we're only playing to the other bands on the bill or playing to a massive room. Like we're gonna sweat and go absolutely bonkers on that stage for whoever's there.
And to give Nish a bit of a break, we had, you know, best laid plans. We had intended to do more like one show a month, but then some of these insane opportunities pop up, and you're not going to be like, no, we said one show a month. We're not going to take on, you know, like obviously we're going to be like, okay, let's make that work. So, but it was a lot of playing. But like you said, we got to play with a bunch of like folks from Chicago and like really get ingrained in our community and the scene. A bunch of like touring bands that we've made wonderful connections with. So it really did help. It was fantastic. It's just with us being 5 humans, we just don't have enough time to devote to practicing and playing shows and recording.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, things just get so busy. I'm also curious, is that where the live album came from as well? Was the fact that you guys were like, I feel like we need to like put some more stuff out, and we've been playing a bunch of shows, so like here's an opportunity that we can get a recording of our show. Let's do that and kind of like put that out as a way to satiate people who may be waiting for more.
I don't know if that was the impetus for that, but I think after having the recordings, the live recordings, I think after some talk, we're like, this wouldn't be the worst thing to release. And it could be like a little, a fun way to show people kind of the live-esque like part that we want to offer for people that come see us. So it was like an opportunity to kind of transcend, you know, like borders, physical borders, to like get a sense of what a show might feel like.
Gotcha. So was that like
that's just
somebody else's idea, like that was playing the show to get it recorded, and so you guys just happened to have it recorded anyway, and then decided to put it out?
It was in the email that they sent to us ahead of time that they were like for $30. I think it was $30, right?
25, 30.
Oh, that's cheap! Holy cow!
Like the sound guy was like doing it for us, and so I mean they were miking all our amps, like getting all the inputs, and that room just has a great sound system to begin with. And we always kind of talk amongst us like we just happened to play a really great show too. The stars kind of aligned. We didn't totally bomb or anything, so the sound quality was great. It was cheap enough. We had them, and Luke put like the really like beautiful touches on it, and Scumdrop got to work on some of them as well. Fixing some of I just remember in that show I had my pedals plugged in wrong, and so like the chorus and reverb wasn't coming through my amp, and they made it sound pretty, and so it was, it was fantastic that they got it, you know, in post, I guess. But we just saw it as an opportunity, and it was there, so we figured why not.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense for sure. Another thing that I'm kind of curious about, I was thinking about this as I was listening to the EP earlier, but is there any sort of like background information about the, I believe you guys have referred to it just as the creature that's on the that's just on the cover art for the EP? Is there like a story behind that, or like you find like a specific artist that you just really wanted to work with and kind of let them do their thing, or what was kind of the story behind that?
Yeah, so that was really funny. I was at the library one day as I normally am. I was doing what I normally do on weekends and looking through books on the occult and like
nice
witchcraft and evil things, and basically I found this book that was I think it was by some guy named Anton LaVey, and what I did was I was looking through it, and it was like if you place this sigil around anything you do, like career wise or anything like that, you're basically making like a pact with the devil to basically give you success for the rest of your life. But then like it's like the classic like sell your soul to the devil type of thing.
Sure.
So yeah, that sigil was the creature actually.
Really? Okay.
That is not true at all. I can't believe we just let Sam do that. The artist is an artist named Mackenzie. Her account is Ghost Flesh Art. I had seen some of her work on Twitter, and I just thought she was really incredible. And I asked for rates, and she like undersells herself incredibly. She's very talented and doesn't charge too much. And we were talking as a band, like, what did we want on it? And we've got a lot of Pokemon themed songs too, and so we were thinking like, like do something like that could be like a legendary or mystical creature, and thinking about like, you know, like something that feels like destined or like fate or something like that. And then she just kind of ran with it, and she gave us some mock-ups, and we were like, this creature thing looks cool. It's based off a Borzoi dog, but yeah, it just feels like pretty ingrained to like what Phalanx feels like. Like when she had described it, like when we released the EP, we had like a little release party on Discord, and she got to like just speak about it a little bit. And she was, and in the background she was like, I wanted it to feel something like if you were like a couple walking through the woods and you saw this thing, to like have both like awe and anxiety of it. And like, but she wanted it to be. She wanted it supposed to be something that was like both like approachable, but also make it a little like dangerous. Like, you know, like I feel like it's looking at you like as if like it's like you stumbled upon it, you know, in a space where maybe you shouldn't be, but even though you were walking on this path, and like maybe that's kind of what it feels like to be privy to like some of the personal moments on this EP, I guess. Like, you know, you're like literally watching like most of my relationship unfold lyrically in this EP from beginning to end, at least to where we are now. And it's a very like personal, vulnerable thing, but we wanted people to feel what it was like to go through all the emotions of like loving someone front to back.
And so that is largely what this EP is about. What is your process like when you are writing lyrics and things like that? Is it like you kind of get like a vibe of what the rest of the band is doing musically, and then you kind of choose to like look at an aspect of your relationship or you know, whatever else you may be writing about, and kind of like figure it out that way? Or do you have things like pre-written that you kind of just try to make work? Like, what does that look like?
I like write a lot in like, I've always said like I write in seasons. Like, so I'm like a poet by trade. Like I've spent like, you know, 3 years getting a master's degree in poetry. So I write poetry a lot, but I do think that poetry and lyricism are two different aspects, because with poetry, you have to let the language find the music itself. And I think with lyrics, you can let the music add some of the emotional affect. But I also write like long form essays and reviews and stuff like that too. So like sometimes I'll take fragments of poems and throw them in, but I try my best to like think about like what the chords that like, or the riffs that, you know, Charlie, Sam, or even Luke or Scumdrop, or like whatever they're bringing, like what does it feel like? Does this feel like a happy song, a sad song, something like that? You know, like I think of like when Scumdrop brought that bass line in for I Get It, You're Scared, you know, it's like a groovy, you know, it's a groovy motherfucker. And like, I wanted the song to, you know, like be like, it makes you like, it just makes you feel hopeful. It makes you feel like if I hear that, I want to move my body, right? And I don't think that song would have done well if it was a song about like being like, you know, like if it was foreboding, or if it was something that was like about deep sadness, you know, like there is like still like tension in the song, right? About like, you know, here's a person that's been hurt, you know, a lot and trying to be loved. That I think that's a place we've all been at some point in time, and hopefully can recover from, right? So I think like it just, the bass line just felt comforting. So I wanted that song to be like, I wanted to write about comfort in that one. Whereas like, I don't know, like TM36, there's like so much tension, you know, like Sam like even hits all like, you know, it's just like hitting some like really hard strumming, you know, finger picking strumming at the end. You know, Charlie is just like stealing from Fall of Troy in the beginning, and like, you know, it just and yeah, there's parts of that, I mean, like where like that song gets pretty fucking heavy, and like that one felt like you know, it felt like I'm fucking up kind of song. And so I try my best to like write the stories to tailor it to like the story the music's telling first. You know, I think like the lyrics and melodies usually come last. I don't usually come with the band with like, I have this melodic idea. I sometimes like hum some to myself, and if it fits on top of what they got, that works. But I usually try to find the melody with them in the room, so I don't ever want like the melody to feel like it's like trying to be its own thing. I want it to blend with the instruments as much as possible. But I think for the lyrics, like it's half and half. Like I'm sometimes like we're playing some stuff in the room and I'm like, oh, I got an idea, and I just start writing it. And sometimes I'll have some fragments or some thoughts I've been thinking about. I mean, the main themes you're going to see a lot, I think, going forward, no matter what, in Tenmo work, which I think is pretty universal to a lot of people, is like you're going to see love, you're going to see heartbreak, you're going to see friendship, perseverance, and you're also going to see a pretty like unflinching lens on the world at large. Like we have songs that are just like directly political. I mean, because you cannot escape the fact that you live in a political world and that we are entrenched in these like identities. Like we have folks in this band who are people of color, who are Native, Indigenous, different gender identities, different like neuro identities, and so like we are just not going to shy away from that. And like I know this genre loves to purport that there's just one way an emo band looks and one thing they talk about.
Yeah.
But like we're not just we're sad, we're going to talk about relationship kind of band. It's going to be there for sure, but it's not all that we're going to bring to the table in terms of our lyrical content.
Yeah, and I personally really like that you guys aren't afraid to shy away from these topics, and that you are very outspoken both like at your shows and online and in various things about really trying to support people who may not be as well off as you, or kind of adjusting your perspective to kind of see where other people are coming from. Especially like what is it? Broken Fist in a Boxing Glove, which still does not have an official studio release as of this point, but is one of my favorite songs of yours when I saw you guys play it live, and also on the live album.
Yeah, that one feels special for sure.
I think that was the first song that we all made together.
Yeah.
Really?
That wasn't already predestined before people joined.
Yeah, there were There was a group of songs that they had written before me or Scumdrop joined the band, and so. But yeah, I also want to throw out that Nish is also. We have one song that may come out later this year that I was able to say, hey, like Nish, let's like write a song about this. Like I'm like angry about this, and I know you are too, and like. I appreciate Nish being willing to like run with me on that. And like I had kind of an idea. I had written the whole guitar part myself, but I definitely needed somebody to like put all of those things into words, and Nish was in a much better place to do that than I was. So I want to say I'm thankful for how Nish has been willing to like listen to other ideas. I think in the future, I'm sure we might even do more collaborative lyrics here and there. But Nish is like a very, very quality songwriter, and I think like a lot of the reason people like our band is because we have good lyrics that are well crafted and also like substantive and kind of a little bit out of the mold as far as it's not just like I'm so sad my girlfriend left me music the entire time, which is like great stuff, and like that's what like I feel like 90% of rock music is about. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's always fun to explore some different things as well.
Oh, for sure.
On that note too, like I want to say that in reverse, the same thing as well. Like when I'm writing lyrics and have these ideas, like there is music playing in my head. Like what I imagine what these songs might sound like, but I just cannot make them. And I feel really grateful to be in a band where like underneath the story that like I've written are 4 other people also expressing something. And I feel like that's what makes this band really special, is that like when you hear one of us play something or hear a part that sticks out to you, it's there intentionally. They're like, I feel like we've done a really good job of just cutting out fluff, especially in these newer songs we're writing about like, we're playing this part because it feels right, not just like to the song, but like to what we feel in that moment, what adds to the overall capital S story of the song. And I'm really grateful that like I don't think you can do that with anyone. It takes some special people to like get 5 very like individual human perspectives into a room and create music. And any band that's doing that, I think, is like really cool. Like, it's cool that bands exist at all.
Yeah.
And I'm also looking forward to like when Sam tapped me and said like, hey, like this, like the death of people in Palestine, the death of people to anyone under the imperial hand is like fucking awful. Like I would like to write something about this. Yeah, it was go time. Like we have to do that for each other as well, right? Like there's moments where like in our songs when we play live, like I'm not singing anything, and I get to just like turn to one of them when they're doing their shit. I'm just like I get emotional watching them do their stuff. It's really cool that we can do that for each other.
Really feeding off of each other's energy. The way that you talk about it, it feels very like symbiotic in a way. Like everybody's really contributing to the greater aspect, as opposed to some other bands where it's like one person mainly does a lot of the creative stuff and everybody else just kind of plays or whatever. Really feels like you guys have a connection where you're each really putting your own stamp on it.
For sure. Yeah. I also just wanted to say that like I appreciate that like even the folks in our own band like see that like we're not writing a lot of the similar stuff, and like I'm not going to say it as like a chip on the shoulder by any means, but like I recognize that like we are doing something a little, against the status quo of the genre. And I know sometimes that's not going to be what's like popular, and not that people are like, oh, why are you writing these happier songs? Or why are you writing about this topic? But I think like, it's easier to make a song about, woe is me. I'm like, I had too many beers and, now everyone doesn't like me because I was belligerent, and that's like not a shot at anyone. I mean, like that is a problem. And like that's like something real to write about. But I hope that like, as people also move through those challenging times, they can find other bands like us too, that are like writing about beautiful moments as well. Right. Like, there's a lot of beauty in this dark life we live in. And I hope that like people have a moment to say, oh, you know what, today, this 10-month summer song actually means something to me because I'm feeling joy and I'm feeling love for someone, versus like I totally understand avoiding us because you're like, I'm in a place where I need to punch the wall because life is crumbling at the bits. Like, we get it. But I do think that like I don't know, I just don't think we're going to write a song like that for the sake of writing a song like that, if that means anything.
Gotcha. So you're feeling like you might write a song that could be like that if you get to the point where, that feels natural, but it's not something that you're going to try and force or anything like that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
For sure.
So before we move on to the next part of the episode here, is there anything else that you guys specifically want to mention about the band, about Fate Lines, about anything upcoming that you may want to announce or talk about before we move on?
I was just going to ask super fast, are y'all able to hear me still?
If what?
Are y'all able to hear me still?
Yeah, you sound kind of filtered and thin for whatever reason.
Yeah, it's my AirPods died, so I think it's
gotcha.
I'm on my computer mic right now, so
I would say that the decibel range got a lot lower.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're just a lot quieter.
Okay. No worries. As long as it won't fuck up the recording, I just want to make sure.
It looks like I've still got you on the recording, so we should be good. It doesn't sound quite as full, but whatever.
Yeah, we'll make it work.
Yep.
To your question though, Ryan, I was going to say I don't know how much I did miss the beginning, but if our drummer Luke is not here, and how he's the like driving force behind us being able to record, and he is like just the magician that he is, and I wanted to give a huge shout out to Luke, even though he's not here in the moment, because he is everything you hear that we record has been done with Luke and Scumdrop, so props to Scumdrop too, but I've never had like practices recorded before, and that's what he does. Like we'll go DI or he'll mic us up, and to be able to listen back, and that I think has helped us progress so much too, that just being able to like, sometimes when you write a riff and you completely forget what it is, Luke has you covered because he was just recording everything you did.
Nice.
So it's been absolutely wonderful, and just also he's like an awesome human being and great drummer too, but for like the recording aspect too, he's just an absolute magician with some of that stuff.
Well, and I think along with that too, it also helps to be able to, play through your songs and then be able to listen back when you're not in the zone of playing, because you're able to listen to what you're doing more objectively. So I could definitely see how that would help out with just making the set sound tighter as well. I mean, it's the same thing as like a football team reviewing the game tape, right? It's kind of the same sort of deal where you look back at what you were doing, but you're not actively doing it, so you can be a bit more analytical about it.
And it's awesome also to see like how the songs have progressed as we've gone on. Like there's been a couple songs that have just completely morphed that you hear from the earlier recordings to what we decided to do because we thought let's change it up. Or one of our songs was literally like telling Sam just play it like twice as fast as we were playing it, and that just becomes an absolute banger. And you hear the original ones, you're like, wow, I can't believe we like point A got us to point B here. It is a really cool process to see.
For sure. Do you guys have anything else to share as far as like anything upcoming, anything to like look out for maybe in the mid not so distant but not so close future or anything like that, or are we ready to move on to the next part of the episode?
We've got a few things to keep on your radar, especially if you're in the Chicago area. We have a couple more shows coming up this year, at least in the first half, that you're going to want to probably be at if you're available. April 6th, we're playing with Bottom Bracket, Leisure Hour, Keep for Cheap, and Lavender Point.
Oh boy.
And Mud Whale, which is just like it's 6 bands. I know people are like, oh my god, I'm too old for this. It's like, grow the fuck up. It's 6 really good bands. You know what I mean? Like when are you going to see 6 bands like this for like $18? It's kind of nutty. You're paying $3 per band, and they're all incredibly talented.
Oh yeah.
Shortly after that, April 19th, we're playing with Townies on their tour with Antillion, Garden Home, and See Through Person. Another just like insane bill of people coming through the city.
So stacked, holy shit.
Yeah, we might just destroy the space-time continuum in April, but then we've got another show possible. In May as well. It's possible. We're playing May 26th as well on Memorial Day, because we're like, you know what, the real holiday is that there's music, not war. And that's going to be with ourselves, Origami Summer, Guess, and Susie Lee. And we will hopefully be announcing this in the next 2 weeks, but we'll give a sneak peek now, is that Bummer Summer 2 is a go, green light, happening in June. It's a festival we put on ourselves to showcase local bands and a couple touring friends who often don't get big stages here in the city. It is been done completely by us, our label, and Kickstand Productions. There's not a ton of money going into this. This ain't no Lollapalooza. This ain't none of that stuff. And that's going to feature some really, really insane names. We'll leak a couple right now. We'll say, look out for 95 Corolla. Our besties are finally coming. It's happening. We're doing
Hell
it.
Yeah.
And I'm excited that we got Wilmette as one of the headliners, because that's been a band that I've been listening to personally for a long, long time. And just loved seeing, POC Power in Chicago do that band growing up as a brown guy in mainly white rooms going to shows growing up. So we're stoked for those. And then, keep your ears peeled and eyes peeled as well about perhaps maybe a tour coming up at the beginning of August. But we won't get everyone's pants too bunched up right now with all the news. We'll let them sit on that for now.
Hell yeah. Anybody else have anything before we move on?
I don't think so.
All right, cool. So now we get to the next part of the episode where we're gonna share some tunes, some fresh finds, if you will, some new music that we may or may not know. But so we're gonna start with me. We're gonna go around whatever order you guys feel like, and we each have chosen 2 songs at this point. So if everybody's ready, let's get to it. So my first song that I'm gonna play is by a band called Flycatcher, who I only just discovered a couple months ago, I think, when they were promoting this song, which was their new song at the time, on TikTok. And this song is called Brother by Flycatcher. They are an alt-rock band from New Jersey, and this came out in October of 2024.
I wanna be like my brother. He learned to work with his hands. He just dismantled the engine on my minivan. such thing as perfect, but we all do what we can. I wanna be like my brother, 'cause he's a good man. Everybody needs help, but no one seems to care about the way things work or making repairs. I wanted to be that, but I'm not sure if I can. Well, if all else fails, at least I got him. I wanna be like my brother. He learned to work with his hands. I wanna be like my brother, 'cause he's a good man.
That banged.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah. That.
One of my favorite things about it is it has the most hooky first verse that I've heard in a really long time. Like, normally the verses aren't what tends to hook people into a song. Normally it's the chorus, and then you know the verse kind of serves as filling out the details, but they're not always quite as memorable, I feel like. But like just the emotion in the voice and such a like compelling vocal narrative to just start it out right out the gate is so good.
Yeah, that was you can hear me out, and I'm saying this not negatively.
Okay.
That song, if you put Rivers Cuomo on the vocals, could have been a Weezer song. Like I really, but I enjoyed that. I mean, I thought that was cool. Like I liked hearing like a modern version of that.
Weezer complimentary, not derogatory.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, it definitely
Where I come
has
from,
that like
that's a
kind of
slur.
90s, alt rock, like kind of bordering on emo type of sound for sure.
Yeah.
It reminded
It's
me
like
a lot
grunge
of
adjacent,
like
but
alt,
not grunge.
like alternative stuff that was coming out in like the early aughts, like almost bordering on like a happier version of Nickelback at that time.
Instrumentally,
But it was
you're kind of right there. I get that for sure.
But it was really, earwormy, and also I think the message of the lyrics is tying into kind of like a different way for like people who identify as male to kind of interact and like appreciate one another. That's kind of not recognized in like a lot of spaces within the music scene in general. When it comes to writing, it's usually a lot of not usually. It can sometimes feel like it is mostly perpetuating negative traits, like patriarchal type shit. But this was like it was refreshing to have a good representation of that idea in the lyrics.
No, I 100% agree with that. I like that interpretation of the lyrics as well too.
Yeah, cool song. Definitely, yeah, in that like 90s alt rock kind of vein
Yeah.
of like bands like it reminded me of Toadies a lot.
Oh, I could see that.
Yeah, I got like some Toadies vibes. Yeah, like that kind of like grunge adjacent and like definitely like grunge influenced, but like it's also definitely not grunge either.
Yeah, it's kind of like a poppier version of kind of that grunge sound, I think, which yeah, I love it. I think I've kind of been on this like 90s alt rock grunge kick lately, and so it really kind of like scratched that itch a lot, and also just again like it's so catchy too, which I absolutely love.
Yeah, it's got that
Yeah, it was like
quiet loud going back and forth and everything.
Yeah.
And also,
Yeah.
maybe even a lost art in emo, but like a guitar solo. Like
Yeah.
where the break is. It's something that I mean, I'm gonna come back to it later with one of the songs I picked out, but like I feel like you don't get that all the time. Like you get some shred-tastic people and like insane tapping and everything, but maybe not the dedicated. It is time for a guitar solo, which was really cool to hear.
Also, shout out to a real like post chorus, because you don't get those a whole lot anymore either. Just it's just yeah, but it's so catchy. I mean, you can't go wrong with that, right?
That's almost kind of why like the verses are those like more instrumental parts there, is because I mean the chorus is a basic getting repeated.
Yeah.
At least the part that was sticking out, like that's what you would hum, but then you realize what meant more to you as you were going along. You're like, oh, this is more the actual lyrics themselves during the verse part.
Yeah, exactly. So who wants to go next? Who wants to share their song?
I can share.
Alrighty.
Let's get it.
Let's come drop.
All right, this song is by a band called Antillion, and I got to see them last night
Oh hell yeah.
at the Dolphin Lounge. They released an EP in June of 2024, and I'm gonna play the song Bear Trap. I really like that song.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Antillion forever. Chicago forever.
Woke up with bars on the windows and a quicksand bed that's pulling me in. Nobody plans to get caught up and fall in the sinkhole. You play the game and you never win. Stepped in the bear trap with all my friends, burnt up and wrung out. Can't bear to find out how it ends. Ripped through the teeth, man. Stepped in the bear trap with all my friends, burnt up and wrung out. Can't bear to find out how it ends. You really rock it to the bottom when you're not looking. Selling the day away with the best of them, shaking your hand. Pull yourself up real tight and pitch it all towards the light, only to find out on arrival there's nowhere to land. Stepped in the bear trap with all my friends, burnt up and wrung out. Can't bear to find out how it ends. Ripped through the teeth, man. Stepped in the bear trap with all my friends, burnt up and wrung out. Can't bear to find out
talk about like a well-arranged song, man. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Oh, Tillian.
And
They
another
are
band
such
that
a cool
live
band.
goes absolutely bonkers. They are Mike,
Yes. Oh,
their singer
I need to
frontman
see them
is just
so bad.
absolutely a madman, like having so much fun. The entire band is having so much fun. They absolutely live live.
yeah, they're awesome. I remember, in fact, at the show where we recorded Live at G-Man after the set. Fun fact about Live at G-Man, we were the opening band of that night. Like it was like us, and then Star Funeral, and then like Bottom Bracket. So we had no business, perhaps putting out a live album for not a headlining show, but whatever. We didn't. But
Yeah.
after the set,
We should go.
Mike from Antillion came up to us and was just like, "Yo, I've been seeing you on social media, just like listen to Destiny Bomb. Like I fuck with y'all heavy. Like I just want to say like that was like an amazing live set. I'm in a band right now too, and like I would love to like just like be connected with you in the scene because like I feel very much like what y'all are doing is like really about keeping Chicago like on the come up. And they've been doing the exact same work. They're wonderful human beings. Nose to the grindstone, all talented human beings, and we've enjoyed every show we played with them so far, and excited to play with them. In a month. They're so incredible. If you haven't listened to Aftertaste, the EP by Antillion, you need to spin it some more. They deserve all the listeners. They're so good.
That came out in the summer, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been simmering for a while.
Yeah.
I was gonna throw out. That's just that I was kind of like I did mostly heard. I've seen them live more than I've listened to their recorded stuff. But that was just like it was really really fun song. Even just like production wise, like there's like a good variation of guitar tones that all sound really crisp and great. There's good overdriven stuff. Good more like spacey modulation stuff that sounds real pretty too. And then even some like cool there's some cool stereo stuff with Mike's voice.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That I didn't catch on the first listen. That is really neat. But yeah, I was just like they're pretty firmly like a post-hardcore band, but like this song in particular, I was like, this sounds like kind of like some of the good 2000s like radio rock.
See, I was gonna say that too, because they clearly they're kind of a post-hardcore type of band, but they clearly have a lot of influences from a lot of different places. Because I hear some funk in there a little bit. I hear some other heavier stuff, like you said, kind of the mid-aughts radio rock a little bit as well. Like it's such a cool, unique sound, and I was really disappointed that I had been sleeping on them for so long once I finally actually listened to them for the first time.
For sure.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head too, because some of their songs could be off a Dance Gavin Dance album, and then they have a song that just has a samba in the middle of it going on. So they're so unique. It's such a fun, interesting sound, and to see it live is awesome. But their recordings sound absolutely fantastic too.
I need to catch them live sometime. I really hope that they end up coming through Michigan, or that I find myself in Chicago at a time that they're playing.
Oh yeah. Worth the trip.
Yeah, it's true.
That's true.
It's not that far away.
I hear a lot of Infinity on High on this track. I hear mid 2000s, post Front of the Cork Tree Fall Out Boy. I hear Infinity on High, maybe a little of the risks of Filet of Dew on this track, but Bear Trap has some of that Joe Tromany strumming, and if you had put P Stone's vocals on that, I think that could have stuck in there as a B-side on Infinity on High for sure.
Well, and I think they even mention in one of their bios, what does it say on Twitter? If Hail the Sun and Fall Out Boy had a sweet little baby.
Yeah,
which
that's correct.
It just makes so much sense. I think that the first time I actually listened to any of their music was when they were on Five at the Door. Mm-hmm. I finally I think I was driving home after Christmas or something like that, and I was just listening to some podcasts, and I was like, oh, I've been meaning to check this band out. This will be cool. And I was just blown away. I'm like, hold on, I have to listen to this whole project right now.
Yeah, they're insane.
Hell yeah. Who wants to go next?
I can throw one on if y'all are.
Sounds like a plan.
Y'all are down for
Let's
it.
do it.
Let's get it.
Let's get it.
Let me. So yeah, this is a song called a song by a band from Denton, Texas. They're called Upsetting, and I saw them for the first time, I think it was like the day before Thanksgiving in 2021, and they were playing with Arm's Length.
Oh.
And it was a small, probably like 100 cap venue, like similar to like Sub T downstairs if you're in Chicago. It was the day before Thanksgiving, and there were probably like 20 people there at most. But yeah, I saw them back in 2021, and they're kind of the staple band down there in the Denton scene. If you know Denton, it's a very artsy town in Texas, and there's a lot of good music coming out of there just all the time.
Gotcha.
And that's where I went to shows, and that's where I went to shows in college, because my college town wasn't really big enough to have much of a scene. We had like one band that was local that played emo stuff. But yeah, Upsetting's they're kind of a staple band in the Denton emo scene, a little grungy, little bit of emo influence. But this is the first song, I think, in a really long time that really made me feel something, and I will have a little more to talk about with that. But it really, the first time I heard it, it gave me the huge emotional response that I haven't really gotten from a song in a long time. So throw it on. It's called Reaching for the Stars, parentheses, without a clue.
Plastic man inside the microwave and watched as he gave in to the heat and start to cave until all that did remain was a pool of smoke and wax. Then I went to clean it up. It took 15 minutes tops, another little death to mourn, till we moved to something else, because the cycle never ends. Carousel just circles on. I am a child with open arms, reaching for stars without a clue that all those little balls of gas have been dead for centuries. I can't escape the irony. Another little death to mourn until another one is born. Like when you stare up at the sun and get spots inside your eyes, keep you from seeing the big picture, blind to those little cells who've died. But we're so used to ignorance, yield to the old white moderate, just a sacrifice for order. Another little death to mourn, a little lily in the garden anticipates the day she's grown, spreads her roots inside the earth, opens her petals to the sun, only to find out that her purpose is to be severed and displayed on top of dirt and compass casket inside a stranger's open grave. And the dirt is piling on, and her limbs are getting crushed as she takes her last breath in. This is not the life that she imagined. Another little death to mourn, another little death to mourn. Scrambling all over North Austin like an egg on a summer sidewalk, worrying about all the wrong things the way a young kid would. One day when the leaves were changing, I got a call from my parents. Had to let it go to voicemail, thinking it was nothing, so I went on with my business. I knew they wouldn't take it personal. I had a final I had to finish.
couple days later, felt like I finally had a moment. So I fiddled on my phone, noticed that I had a voicemail. They said your grandfather's dead. Turns out I had missed the funeral. Wish I had hugged that motherfucker more. Another little death to mourn.
Damn.
That
Yeah,
fucked me up, man.
I was gonna say I definitely get what you were talking about with that, like you just heavy emotional like response, like holy shit.
Yeah, like this is off a LP that I think they just released this week, if I'm not incorrect.
I was gonna say it says 2025 for sure, March 18th.
Yeah, this is like brand new. Whole LP is worth a great listen, but this one just like stuck out to me because it like really captured like that transition, like from like kind of the transition that I feel like if you if you're somebody who like went to college and like went through that process, or like once you're out of high school, like that transitionary period where you're really figuring out how to be an adult and like
how to be a real
manage
adult.
life. And manage life and everything. It like captured that really well because I had like just like the part where he kind of goes into the spoken word stuff and is talking about like scrambling around Austin and like all of that, and like just having so many new things to do and feeling like overwhelmed. And then like as you kind of figure out what adulthood is, and that under just kind of the system we're under and everything, it's kind of labor day in and day out, and it's very monotonous, and it's it kind of dawns on you, and you see things in the news and stuff you have no control over, and it's all really depressing stuff, and you lose family members. I lost my grandma on my mom's side when I was I think during like right after my senior year of college finished.
Yeah.
And so it really captures the feeling of like just feeling like you're getting hit over the head again and again and again, just by life, and like how much of an uphill battle that can feel like.
Well, and to me,
and so
I also like, you know, when you're kind of early 20s, you know, just going out into the world for the first time, really post college, there's also kind of the thing of like, you almost feel invincible in a little bit of a way, because you're like, oh yeah, I'm young, the world is my oyster, you know, whatever. And I think that there's like that aspect in the second verse too, about like losing a family member and, you know, not taking the call and just finding out through a voicemail later. I think that kind of speaks to that. that as well, because there's so much like, oh well, what I'll worry about that later. I'll worry about this later. You're just too like wrapped up in what you're doing to kind of realize those things. And yeah, I felt that a lot too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I also appreciate the kind of like the non-human empathy, like empathy for the non-human in the verse about the flower.
Yeah.
Because I think in our society we don't value the non-human very well, or as generously as maybe we should. So it was nice to have like an ode to kind of the way that our society uses the non-human to kind of just come to terms with things like death, so like funerals or even like weddings. You're taking these plants, and basically severing them and using their bodies for some sort of emotional outlet.
Yeah.
Which is kind of an interesting perspective to think about in that. That's kind of what that verse pushed out for me, at least.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think the death is like a really big theme in it, and I think the first verse or whatever he talks about the putting the little like I guess like an army man or an action figure inside of the microwave and like turning it on and watching it melt. And to me, that's almost like how in life you kind of like your old self dies. And like I think this song is just about like all those little deaths that you go through in life. Like I think that's kind of the central theme of it. That's what I got from it.
I like all of these interpretations a lot. I also personally really want to also bring up the instrumental. I really love the use of the banjo there. I think that there's something that's like there's kind of like a haunting aspect to it that it adds. And I also just love to see non-standard instrumentation within rock music. I just think that it's so cool to pull in elements from, whether it's country or, any other genre and being able to, kind of add these things that you wouldn't normally hear.
I have the exact same thought there. I was like, it took me back. It took me aback when I first heard it, but then realizing that it's such it's so interesting and catches you because you're not expecting something like a banjo in this sort of music space. Also, just hearing everyone else's interpretation makes me realize like how differently I listened to music the first time I listened to something. Like the lyrics when it got into the spoken word, I was picking more up on, but in the earlier verses, it was more of the like atmospheric, like guitar work and everything that I was initially being pulled to that I think I actually missed some of the lyrics at the first time, but like it makes me want to go back, maybe dig a little deeper and listen more because like the banjo was blowing my attention or just like the really spacey. And then like when it got to be that heavier, driving, forceful guitars, that's what really drew me. And then a punch in the gut when you get to more of the spoken word vocal portion.
That's why I really like this format for doing the show, trying to not tell anybody like what your picks are beforehand, because I really love to see how different people listen to music on their first listen through and what they pick up, because everybody finds different little details and different little things that stand out and feel important to them. And I find that really interesting to see what that is for each person.
Yeah, in the opposite from Charlie. I was just like listening to those words and like trying to literally not cry. I was just like, what the fuck? Like this song, I'm still processing it, honestly. Like that was like a real existential like uppercut just to think about. Like it's something that like no, it's beautiful. I can't wait to check out this whole record.
We're doing therapy on the podcast here.
Yeah, truly. Like holy moly, that was sick.
All right, so who has the next song? Charlie, Nish?
I got one pulled up right here, and I know that we've.
Yeah.
Oh,
all right,
Nish,
cool.
You already typed it.
No, go for it. I have it in the chamber. You take it away, my good sir.
All right. Well, this is I mean the songs I've been drawn to recently have been some of our friends' bands. So these might not be the exact freshest for us, but hopefully fresh for folks listening. Because if you haven't checked out my picks, you need to more so. But this is from one of our good best friends, 95 Corolla. I got.
Oh hell yeah! Let's go.
All right. And talk about guitar solos too. Just absolutely shredding.
Whew.
All of the instrumentation. I mean, also riff master generals over there.
for
absolutely
sure.
throwing out the riffs that make you move and groove. Something about everything 95 Gorilla does just like scratches that part of my brain that it sounds so right. It's so good.
And they keep getting better too. Is the crazy thing?
Oh my god, it's pumping them out. I know this one. What I think it was released on New Year's Eve, right? That they and same year that they had already put out like a full length too. It's just they are prolific.
They're so prolific.
And working, and I can't wait to see where else they go because it's.
Technically, 5 of the 6 songs were already released on a previous EP that you can only find on Bandcamp now. Because this is the Louder, Faster, Sadder EP, which is the 5 songs from the Loud, Fast, Sad EP plus 1 more. But they completely revamped them, re-recorded them. I think everybody, because I think it was just Christy at the time who recorded that, or no. It was the previous lineup, but Christy's the only member anymore from that era of the band. And just hearing the different parts that all of the newer members of the band have added just amplify these songs so much.
Yeah, I did see that on Bandcamp, but I remember listening and thinking like it had been different. So it's insane. Also, the drumming too. That's something that catches me every time I listen. It's so just like thumping and driving and just sounds right.
I also love the bass on it because that's one of the things that I noticed is it's got I think it's kind of like a gallopy type of type of rhythm, and I don't think that was in the original. I think that the original it was played straight, and then I think that they decided to add the kind of like galloping thing, and I think that the kick drum also follows that rhythm, and I think that it just adds so much more like forward momentum to that part of the song, which I absolutely love.
Yeah, I'm a fan of all the. Feels like it like owes a lot to like a lot of like 80s like hair metal. Type
in a
stuff
way, yeah.
As well, like they're those like really fun like major interval harmonies that the guitars are playing. I don't know if they did major, third, fifth, whatever. Doesn't matter. It just sounds great. They do those harmonies. Really fun guitar solo. That lick that starts it out is really, really cool. Sounds very neat. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of all the harmonies and the like. There need to be more bands that are doing guitar harmonies like that because they're pretty sick. Like stuff like like bring back like stuff like Boston did. That's like the big.
Are you by chance familiar with either Ghost Town Remedy or the Dreaded Laramie, who are also both from Nashville?
I know of the Dreaded Laramie. A little bit, but the other one.
So
I have not
both
heard.
of them do a lot of the like guitar harmony, like just fun like type of stuff like that. So if you're looking for more stuff that has kind of that type of vibe, definitely check both of them out.
For sure. Yeah, because I think of as far as newer bands that do that, it's like Roswell Kid is the first one that comes to mind, and then our friends in Pretty Pleased is a band from Chicago. I used to play in a band with the guy Josh. It's his project. He's a great musician, but yeah, they're very like Roswell Kid influenced. So they do a lot of that guitar harmony stuff. And then like a band I found out because of Mario from Bottom Bracket, Sheer Mag, and they're basically like 80s worship.
Yeah,
band like through and through.
Yeah, going off of Sam's like musical and like interpretation of it. It also reminded me a lot of like Papa Roach-esque, Three Doors Down-esque like music style.
Sure.
Like the lyrics are definitely not what I would think those two aforementioned bands would go for, but like I think that they give themselves that little niche in the sound that makes them really pop and have like that earwormy, like catchy type of either like guitar solo or like a chorus line. It's just all there. and it's really good.
I think to me the biggest through line with all of that is that all of those bands sound like they're having fun. Like you listen to it and you're like, I'm just ready for a good time. Like let's crack a couple beers, let's get into it, you know.
I think they did a like for lack of a better term, like a butt rock. Was it compilation or were they on it? Like they covered like a Chevelle song, I want to say.
Yeah,
yeah.
I put that whole thing together actually.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, and they covered Chevelle. I think I did Seether. There was also a Three Doors Down or 3 Days Grace. I always get those two confused.
3 Days Grace, yeah.
3 Days Grace.
Yeah, I think it was 3 Days Grace. That whole thing was so much fun. I'm hoping to do another one this year, but I've been taking on a lot of other things, and so I'm trying to figure out the right time to actually do it.
Well, I could throw it out there. I mean, if you're going to do that kind of music again, I don't know how to sign everyone else, but I like that.
Well, let's fucking do it. Hell yeah. All right, so Nish, you've got the last one for this first go around. What are we listening to?
All right. We've got Nightwalk Ultra by Kerosene Heights. I think this is just a perfect song. One of the greatest bands right now of this era doing it. This song has a disgusting hold on me.
I think about how you're looking now. Feel disgusted and push it out. A crooked smile forever till we smile together. I think about how you're looking now. Remember when we were hanging out? I'm getting high at your parents' house. We got stoned together for the first time ever. Remember when we were hanging out? I don't know what to say.
Oh yeah, man. Guy's so good.
Nish, you're muted. I can't hear you right now.
Oh,
My bad. I was afraid I was going to start singing out loud during the song, so I muted myself because I love that song so much. When I first heard that song, man, I was sobbing. I don't know, like that song like makes me so emotional, and I like kind of know why, but also don't. Like I don't know. It just like
it hits so hard.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
And I just, for this style of music, I love his vocal delivery so much. It's like the perfect amount of like grit, but it doesn't sound like screaming, which I think is so cool that he's able to get like that perfect, like gritty sound, but also still be like really clear and able to like understand.
Yeah. Oh my God. I remember being so, because I think this was the first time I ever heard by them, and I like
Really?
I loved. Yeah. I loved the beginning when he's in his like almost like lower talking register, and then when it flipped, I literally I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
This is insane. This is so good.
Yeah, and this was like middle of last year that it came out, right? Yeah, June of 2024, because they did.
I was late.
The full length, Southeast of Somewhere, was in 2023. Then there was that, and then they also did the split with Swiss Army Wife that came out in November. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, his vocal delivery, like Catherine was a song I was just listening to on repeat for a while, and just like the way that one kicks off, where he has that, like it's already coming in with that grit, but it's again that like I really like just switching, like it's the soft quiet to hard heavy, like bouncing back and forth between that, but they keep it up and very well. I'm envious of anyone who can sing, but like to keep that going for an entire song and like an entire set, that's just absolutely insane. It's another year work there too, that everything just sounds so right together. Just love the way that they composed it.
Well, and go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say they're a very like consistently good band. Like they don't really put out bad songs. They're absolutely killer. Yeah, great vocal delivery. Their songs are always, I feel like they're a very band that's really good at doing like hook heavy stuff where it just like it reels you in, and like they're like great at doing the whole like big sing-alongy chorus that just like feels really powerful. And so that whole EP is great, and they so far like no misses for them.
They're a song of the summer type of band.
Yeah, they've been on a tear.
Yeah, no, 100%
for sure.
They could write an anthem. Yeah, anthemic was the word that came to mind, and I was like, because
there you go.
You want to yell and sing along.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for it being sad, I'm like, that's a roll the windows down and scream it out sort of thing. But maybe you don't want to do that.
Yeah, maybe not. Sure. But yeah, they are such a fun band. I am kind of disappointed that I have not seen them live yet, but I'm sure I will get my opportunity soon enough. My next song that I'm going to play, we've mentioned them a lot on recent episodes of the podcast, and I felt like it was weird that I had never featured a song by them before. So this is the newest song by the Callous Cowboys, and I love the direction that they've been going lately with all of their stuff, because they're kind of like, a mathcore type of like, metal alternative rock type of band, but they've been doing so much cool experimental stuff, writing kind of like poppy, hooky type of songs recently that has just been another level. It's so much fun. So this is their most recent release, which is called Lemon.
I can't recall your heartbeat ever speeding up. For you the taste is so much better than the pub.
Your mother saw me waiting tables and she asked if I was doing that band thing. Still, I always finish what I start, but I guess it's been almost a decade of this. I know I never speak to you that way. Hey. So I hope I never speak to you again. I can't recall your heartbeat ever speeding up. For you the taste is so much better than the pub. I should have been making up those breaths you took. Instead my lungs just filled with page and classic coke.
Oh man, this shit is so much fun.
That was fire.
moving.
That was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was sick.
Like, one of the things that I think is just so cool is how they're able to go from, like, I mean, their last project was really heavy, had like some really heavy, cool, like math rock, you know, metal type of stuff. And then they just turn around and like the last 3 songs that they've done have been so like poppy and accessible without feeling like they're like compromising who they are as artists.
I don't know a lot of their old stuff, to be honest. Like not a ton at least. So, but like everything I've heard, like what's fascinating is that everything I've heard from them has been different, which I think is like and also well executed, which I think is difficult to do. I think obviously like many bands just like sit in a genre, and it's impressive when you can be multifaceted. And I'm sure it's fun to take those risks too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was. My image that I have, the sound in my head is much heavier, like screamier, right? So I was not prepared for that to be the case because I hadn't heard that one quite yet. A lot of Corey Taylor, like vocal style.
You're so right. I was literally like thinking to myself, who does this vocal style remind me of? And when you said Corey Taylor, I was like, wait, hold on, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Just sitting there, I was just like, I thought for a second, I was like, is this a Corey Taylor like feature right now? I was like, a couple things, just the way he delivered it came through, and I was like, I mean, I love it. It sounds fantastic. So I mean, that is complimentary, Corey Taylor.
Corey Taylor complimentary, not Corey Taylor derogatory, similar to the Weezer thing earlier.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, they're great at covering a lot of ground genre-wise. Because, I'm familiar with their more, like, really heavy stuff. I was kind of waiting the whole time, like, oh, when's the heavy part coming? It just never did. But it was a very, like, groovy song, and, like, pretty cool that they're talented enough that they can do that. Because I've known they've kind of been doing some more experimental stuff lately. There's a song that they put out a while back. I can't remember. It was after their it was after their most recent full length, I think.
Celebrity Therapist was that in 2022.
Yeah, in between like now and their like last full length, and there's a song that I listened to by them a decent amount that had like the mathcore type heavy like screams and like riffs and all of that stuff, but then they like threw in like, I want to say, I could be misremembering, some like drum and bass like jungle type stuff like in the middle.
I don't remember that exactly, but I wouldn't put it past them for sure. I could definitely see that.
I can't remember. It was either like drum and bass like jungle type of stuff, or it was some more like hyper poppy, like they threw some like electronic music kind of things into that track, and I could go find it, but it's cool the range they've got for such a band that does the heavy stuff so well.
Well, in talking about like electronic influences too, that also reminds me the production on this song, the drums are really interesting because I would believe that they their drummer played those, but like the way that they are arranged or used, it sounds a lot more like when you take like a drum break and like chop it for like a hip hop beat or something like that. It's got a lot more of that like snappy, like sped up kind of like really like choppy kind of sound to it, which I thought was really neat.
That's funny. That's what I was thinking at the beginning of that song, that first like drum groove or whatever. I was like, this sounds like somebody sampled a jazz break.
Yeah, exactly.
From like that's what popped into my head like right off the bat. So that's funny. That's what I don't know if they were going for that or not, but it's a cool sound.
Yeah, it's cool regardless.
I think some of our friends in Splitjaw just got to see them live.
I was gonna say.
Oh yeah.
Gumdrop. I don't believe you were there, but that they called out our friend Maud and Dean from Splitjaw got to go, and that Maud also got to go up and do like a vocal part on stage and was just absolutely crushing it. So that's also why I had the heavier part in mind, because she was just screaming her face off.
I saw that on Twitter, and if I remember in the edit, I will put that video in so that like people watching the video version can see it, because it was fucking sick.
And they start scouting too, at the show. And I'm like, I was like, what happened?
Just hanging out.
What a crazy night.
Yeah, for real. All right. So if we don't have anything else, I think Scumdrop has the next tune.
Alrighty. So this one is another local Chicago band. They just released this album in January this year. It's a band called Heat Death, and the album is called Bad Reading, and the song is called G&T. Yeah, I'll just play it.
All right. That is so sick. I love how garagey that is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Get my guillotine chop.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fun.
They have such a cool, like I said, like really garagey sound. I was doing a little bit of research while we were listening there, and it's only a duo. Is that correct?
Yeah, just drum and guitar and vocals.
Okay. So do
That sounds
they? Go ahead.
I was just saying that sounds massive for a duo right there. That's nuts.
Yeah. I'm almost wondering if they do like a split processing thing on the guitar because like the guitar sounds so thick. Like it reminds me of there's a local band from Detroit that does this same thing. They're called Checker, and they are also just a duo. And the guitarist, I believe, plays their guitar through a regular guitar amp, but also like parallel processes it, drops it down an octave, and plays it through a bass amp as well. So it sounds really like dirty and thick and sludgy. I'm wondering if they do something similar.
Maybe. I've yet to see them live, so I haven't been able to like stare at their pedal board.
You gotta do that research there.
Do you know how long they've been active?
I know they have another album. I think that one was 2021, so they've been around a while. From what
They've definitely been playing live since I've been here,
Okay.
and probably long before.
I only found out about them through I think it was Passed Down magazine. They were featured in the August 2024 copy, and I was just like, oh, cool. Another local band to check out. They blew me away.
I'm not familiar with Pass Down magazine. Is that like a independent publication?
Yeah, they're smaller, I'm pretty sure. They're an indie mag. I want to say they're based out of are they based out of Illinois or like Lower Illinois? I think they're. Hold on, before I just start saying random shit.
We do support fact checking on the Fresh Finds podcast.
I do think they're based out of Champaign-Urbana, mainly because they sponsor a lot of shows at the Canopy Club, which is a venue that me and Luke used to play with their old band down there. So I want to say they're headquartered in. I think it's like some students that have started it, and once they graduate, they plan to bring it to the city and stuff. But I mean, they're doing a great job. Like we were in one of their issues. Like they're sick. Nice folks.
That's really cool. I love seeing like cool independent publications like that, just spreading the good word, especially about cool bands like this because they fucking rip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. I'm only seeing, at least on Tidal anyway, I'm only seeing their most recent project. So I'm wondering if because it is on Bandcamp, their previous stuff.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they like specifically took it down, or Tidal does a weird thing sometimes where bands' catalogs get split across multiple artist pages for whatever reason. So that might be what's going on too. I'm not sure.
Maybe. I know, at least last I checked, their Heat Death Hooray is also on Spotify. So there should be some more stuff on other platforms at least. I know Bandcamp has like the oeuvre of what they've got.
Oh no, they do have the previous one. It's the glitch that I was telling you about. That's apparently that's what that is. But definitely something that I'm gonna check out more of because that was just so fun. It reminded me of. Do you remember the intro sequence to, I think it's the first Rock Band game where it's they're like surfing on top of like a tour bus or something like that?
Yeah.
And I think it's what is it? It's what's the song that's playing? But yeah, it gave me that vibe.
Yeah. Honestly, that's a good way to like describe it, is that title scene. I can't even remember the song, but you could put Heat Death over that scene and it would probably give me the same effect.
Exactly. I'm going to remember what that song is like as soon as we stop recording.
That's how it goes. That whole album is absolutely flawless, I think.
All right, Sam, do you have your next song chosen?
Yes, I do. I believe I have it. I'm just gonna double check that I have the link correctly, but I've got it. Yeah, I've got it. All right. So
All right.
This is from a band called Footballin, which is they're from Italy, and they're probably my favorite band right now. They're great, and they do some weird stuff. Also, footballing means foosball in Spanish. So,
Oh, interesting.
fun fact, language wise.
All right. Hell yeah.
Wow.
Did
I
not
love
know
that.
what to expect after that intro. Holy shit.
That track, I feel like, is just a great first track, like introduction to their music.
Mhm.
I feel like if you like that, you'll like the rest of their discography, and if you don't, you won't, and that's totally cool.
Yeah.
But they're super fun. They do the screamo kind of stuff, but also like mixed with some like lo-fi electronic type of stuff as well. I just think they're like one of the more creative bands out there, and they've got some killer guitar, killer vocals.
I really love that kind of like spanky, slightly overdriven guitar tone that they have. It's like I have yet to find a way to get at least through my personal playing that has like that kind of like slightly overdriven sound, but it's also kind of like chimey and clean too. Like that is goals for like a good tone. I love it.
It's tough. It's like I guess they must just be like compress the hell out of it. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's still like even with it's like hard to when you do that much compression. It's kind of hard to keep it sounding full too. So
Yeah, it sounds
might
like
be
it
doing
might be like
dubs.
neck and middle like strat or something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
And that like lead riff too in the middle there that they would like that was catchy as hell.
Where are they from?
they are from. And I looked it up just a few minutes ago to confirm it. But I believe they're from Verona, Italy.
Oh, all right, cool.
So they are. They have some songs that are like in English, but I don't know that all their stuff is in English. I mean, they do like pretty much screamed vocals almost all the time, so it's like kind of hard to tell.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're an Italian band, and yeah, Verona. I'm looking it up. It's like a 250,000 person city. It's a pretty relatively small city, I think, for Europe. But
Do you know if they're still active? Because I don't see anything post 2018, at least on.
So I'll go ahead and plug it. They literally just released a little like 3-song EP like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because I also didn't know if they were still active or not, and they put out a little 3-song EP like 2-3 weeks ago that almost adds more electronic stuff, but then it's like kind of hardcore influenced.
Oh, that's cool. So it's
really
almost going in like a not quite, but almost kind of that like cyber grind, but like more of like a hardcore like type of thing.
Yeah, it's like a weird like inverse of that almost. Like it's like they I think for at least some of their songs they use like this like toy piano synth thing.
Oh, interesting.
And
Is that what the intro was?
They're
Okay.
they're like I'm assuming so. They're like definitely like worth looking up like a live video of because they do some.
It sounds like they would have some
they're
insane energy.
Yeah, they're a 3-piece they don't have a bassist. I don't even know
That's
that
crazy.
there's any like on that song. I don't know that there's. I could be totally wrong, but I don't know. There's no bass line that sticks out to me, at least.
Yeah.
And it's the guitarist doesn't sing, drummer doesn't sing, the singer sings and plays whatever weird instrument, synth, keys, more or less. But
I kind of love that.
yeah,
though.
they're super cool. Yeah, but yeah, their new little their new EP they put out is like super just like fast, hardcore influenced, and it's really, really fun.
I definitely want to check out more of that because that was just such a fun tune to listen to.
Yeah, they're great. Their entire discography is really, really good, and you can probably listen to all of it. I think in like under an hour, maybe, because they have like 3 or 4 little releases out, but like all their songs are like 2 minutes at most.
Yeah. So I found it on Bandcamp. I didn't find the most recent thing that you were talking about, which sounded like it came out like very recently. But I did see Moped Experience is a single that they released in 2022, and then they've also got
Moped,
those last 2 projects.
Moped's
as well.
a whole Moped's an EP. It's 8 minutes long, so not very long. And then the brand new one is called Cheater's Delight, and that one's like 5 minutes. It's like just 3 songs.
Okay, it's definitely more to check out then for sure. I'm looking forward to that a lot.
Yeah, I love them. I'm always. I want to plug them hard because I don't know that. I think they're like a severely underrated band.
Yeah, this is the first I'm hearing about them anyway. Charlie, do you have your pick ready to go?
Yes, I do. All right. So
Hell yeah.
I realize I'm just sticking with We're Trying Records, folks. And another band we're actually going to be playing a show with in next month. So this is Faux Pas by Townies, which has been on like the album came out of This I'm Certain last spring, and that was on my like on repeat for probably the next like 6 months plus, and it's still probably on there at some point. It was like top 3 for the longest time just because I love this one, but I will just get right to it.
Here's to the faux pas. Here's to the time between my reply and you asking me where I stayed at last night. I'm running over the same excuses that I use on the day by day. I'm getting over running away. Sorry
freaking love that song. It's one of those like in the car when that drum that I have to do it on my steering wheel to the point I'm like, I'll crash. It's fine. I don't care. Like it's gonna happen.
It's fine.
I need to.
Yeah.
And then, there's so many little things in that like you listen and at the beginning he has this like almost like a little laugh he does, like a chuckle to himself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it starts with these little things.
Iconic.
I just love coming back to it. It's such the whole album rocks. But this song was the one that every time it came on, I was like, maybe we run that back again because that was just so freaking good.
So there's the little chuckle, and then right after that, you can hear him like start to sing the first line like a little bit early, and then he's like, no, wait, nope, never.
Yeah. Like you got one of those like Green Day, what's the Time of Your Life song where he starts and it's just like fuck, and then it starts the actual song. Like,
honestly, I kind of love that type of stuff. Like when people leave in like studio banter or like just like small little like mistakes or whatever. Like it just humanizes everything so much.
I love it as well. I always think like there's a 4 Year Strong song that at the end you can tell that they're talking about baseball. Like that just got picked up on the microphone. And they're like, the umpire called him safe, but he looked out. I mean, not to point at us, but like Luke was like left the mics rolling, and after we did at the end of "I Get It, You're Scared," we're just making funny noises, and Scumdrop had to go up, I don't know, like 17 octaves at the very end. We practice all up, and so you just leave the laugh.
Yeah. Well,
I love stuff like that.
Yeah, I do too. I also just love how much of a build there is to it, starting out with like the drums are super punchy, obviously, but it starts out with like just the acoustic guitar, and then everything else comes in. Like there's so much good like dynamic structure to this song.
Yeah.
So many like
Really nice
layers of
songwriting.
different. Yeah. Sorry, Nish, I cut you off there.
I was just saying this song. This is such really good layers and songwriting. I love the acoustic guitar underneath it. Like, I feel like it just adds a brightness to that song that makes it just so like akin to the album art. Just dogs in the back, just like dogs in the pickup, just wind on you. I loved it.
It's super jangly too, which I really like. A lot of people go for like a more full kind of like acoustic sound, and I love that this is just left super jangly and like it sounds like they probably use like a floppier pick too, so it's kind of percussive as well.
Mm-hmm. It really pops. Sometimes with like jangly guitar songs, I'm like, just play it on acoustic. Like at a certain point, like I know you Rickenbacker through a Vox to sound like this bright chime. I'm like, you could have just played acoustically and it would have probably the same.
I also just with like so many of the songs on this album absolutely love the lyrics too. Just like so many smart, clever lines throughout like this entire album, as well as just like really powerful stuff too. There was one line that I was thinking of from this, but I don't remember it anymore. Don't remember what it was going to be. But
I
in general. Yeah, exactly.
But
I like all of them. They're great.
it's very like relatable, like with the metaphors used, but also like great at painting a picture, and like you can almost see what's happening throughout. So like the first verse especially too, there, like that's talking about verses pulling you in. I just remember that being like the thing that really got me to want to just keep listening to the end of the song, which the rest of the song is awesome too. But
I think my favorite song from this record is actually Ozzy's song, which is the song right before this.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one too. It's going to be fun to play with them. I think we're all looking forward to that set.
Yeah. They're one that I still haven't seen live yet.
I don't know how far east are they coming out. I know because they're California based. They're coming out to Chicago.
I mean, they're going at least to like Boston. They're playing with Old Soul.
Okay.
So they're going out. They're going out east for sure.
I think one of them, if not multiple, are from Boston or have spent time in Boston.
I believe they're all from Boston originally, actually.
All from, and then they moved out to California. Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah. So I think that's like their realistically like their hometown show, basically.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Which I was really. Yeah, I was really surprised by that actually to find out, because like either Boston or LA, based on the vibes of the music and also like the album art, I was expecting them to be like Midwest all the way. Like I was expecting them to have grown up basically in a cornfield.
Yeah. The album art gives that very much. You're just like that pickup truck is definitely like that's because you need a pickup truck sort of kind of work. Not just for sure.
Like it just gives the vibes of the town that I grew up in, basically.
Yeah. Even
From
the
upstate New York, very similar vibe.
even their
yeah.
name. It's like townie. It's like it just
Townie.
it's like
Yeah.
Well, that's a Boston thing too. Call someone a townie.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, and to round it off, this is going to be our last tune of the evening. Nish, what do you got for us?
I have what is probably one of the most classics out there. It is Not My Job by Carly Cosgrove. I was talking about this song recently, tweeting about it a ton. Went to go see them with Maxie when they came through with my fiance. It was just like incredible to see them again. I don't think we've missed them once since they've come through Chicago. Like this band just means an insane amount to me personally, but also like to us as a couple. Like it's just like a band that we both like fell in love with. It's just it's also just like this song itself is like really big to our friend group. I can't think of like how many nights we like just like drove around like Chicago, like, you know, no matter what season, and just like the drums in the song were just all just like beating the fuck out of my car, just like just going crazy. And in fact, the night of the Carly Cosgrove show, we were also throwing a surprise birthday party for my fiance's brother at District Brew Yards, and so after we like left the gig, went to Cobra Lounge, watched the gig, and then came back, and then like saw everyone again, and we were driving to get food at night, and we had like it was me, Mar in the front, 3 in the back, 2 people in the trunk. The car's filled, and they were just like, "How was the show?" And they're like, "We're just gonna play you Not My Job, and you're gonna get it." And we all just like it was just like an extension of that web of like what the song means, and I think it's just like a really incredible 3-minute track. Like it just like does its job and like makes you feel. Ironically, it does its job. It just makes you feel like, I don't know. It makes you feel a lot of things. So yeah, I'm gonna stop blabbing.
I'm just envisioning the scene from Wayne's World where they're all listening to Queen.
Yeah, that's correct.
Hell yeah.
Pink sky, gray clouds, rain fell in pastel. Long day, long drive, brain dead, still alive. Lie down, face up, dead set to collect dust. Useless, I'll bet, if not for my skill set. I'm outside, it makes me static. Do I take the blame for the times I shatter? If it ends the same, do the means even matter?
my god, are you kidding me? They're a
Dude.
3-piece? Fuck that. Fuck that.
For
What do you
real.
mean?
I
I was shocked when I found that out.
Yeah. I saw them live for the first time last summer. They played Excellency out in Bay City, Michigan. And just absolutely insane, the performance that they put on. Like you said, especially for a 3-piece, like sounding that big and full with only 3 members is crazy.
And I'll say this, like, Untouchable, #1 bassist on stage ever, Scumdrop, no question about it. But Helen comes damn fucking close. Like here are 2 folks that can wield a bass like a weapon on stage. It is insane.
For real.
Like, yeah, holy shit. I mean, and also like Lucas's vocals, Tyler on the drums, like just like all 3 of them are so good at their craft, both in the studio and live. Oh my god, I could watch them forever. I watched their live set at their LP1 release show at the Unitarian Church in Philly. What's that venue called? First Unitarian, I think, or something.
First Unitarian.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. Yeah, I watch that like probably like once a week. I watch it like it's like a Jordan highlight clip. Like I'm just like let's run back the tape. I'm just like, holy crap, what a insane set.
Well, and going back to what you were saying about the bass too, from a production standpoint, one of the things that I love is how well the bass tone and the drums are paired together, because a lot of the time in production you will have like a kick drum and the bass might be like competing for frequencies or things like that, but the way that they're mixed and the tones that they chose, the kick drum and the bass are so complementary to each other that they almost start to sound like one instrument, which kind of goes back to like the way that like jazz and things like that used to be written, where the kick drum wasn't the main part of the drum kit. It was largely used to reinforce the low end of the upright bass. And this kind of sounds like it harkens back to that, because they really just glue together like that so well.
Yeah. Oh man. I can't praise this band enough. Seriously, I think they're legends. I really do. Like, I was like starstruck talking to them. I was just like, you guys are amazing. Like, the God bless you for existing.
Yeah, and this was from their first EP, right?
Yeah, like, what do you mean? First EP? Like, come on. Like, that's insane.
And then since then, they've done, I think, at least one more EP, and then they've done 2 full lengths at this point.
Yeah, they've done. They did like the Buttersock Freddie Benson split. They did the Acoustic Sessions EP. Then they did LP1. They've done like some one-off singles, and then like the Wax Bodega covers, and then it was LP2. And they're gonna take over the world one day.
Well, I mean, even just seeing like how much they've grown, like the types of spaces that they're playing now versus what they were playing just a couple of years ago, as far as like capacity and like the size of the venue, is crazy.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I'm so proud of them. Not that they need my pride or anything like that, but like they're so good. They're so good.
I just think that it's always cool to see the DIY bands that get to like that next level, but still keep the DIY aesthetic and still keep like repping everybody else who's like not made it to that level yet. You look at like them and Ben Quad, and now I'm just gonna start naming everybody on Wax Bodega Records, but you get the idea.
Yeah, it's special. I think right now, like the way that I think that there's always in the community and in the genre been a sense of like, we don't want to just like lose ourselves to the big stuff. And I sometimes do like more in some of the bands that like used to do that like have kind of forgotten that once they've gone to the big stuff. But I think like the bands that are breaking through that barrier right now are not forgetting, the houses, the basements, the bands they played with, and the people and the communities, labels, producers, organizers, whatever. Like I think there's a better respect for it for sure among these bands coming up. Like you mentioned, like Ben Quad is I think like a shining example of that. I think that's like really a thing that we need to do more of, like a collective like whatever level you are at, because like there's always there's a band that's going to be putting out their first song tomorrow probably, right? And like they probably can't get gigs, can't get callbacks from anyone, they can't find other bands to play with, right? And I think like any band that can give that kind of opportunity is like doing something that's like meaningful in the scene and helping others like take that step
and
up.
word of mouth is so huge too. Like you've got one band that might be like at a slightly higher level, and they might just mention a band in a tweet, or like take them out like one time, have them be the opener for a show or whatever, and just all these small little things just really add up over time.
Oh yeah, and like it's really not that much effort. As someone who can spit out 50 tweets in a minute, it's like not that hard to just like the effort is thinking of someone else, right? Like that's like the hard part. And I think that like it's so doable if you like take your time to do it. I mean, like shout out to like Will from Full Blown Meltdown doing it every single week, and like but like I think like what's beautiful is that like we're seeing a lot of bands take their chance to like get other people opportunities, even when it doesn't benefit themselves. It's just like, hey, like there's like X band is playing X city, you see the tweet and you say, hey, you should have these bands play there, even if you're not from that city. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't take much to put that vouch out there. And I'm glad that we have people that are doing that, and hope that more follow suit.
No, 100%. I agree with you. All right. Is there anything else that anybody wants to mention another time before we sign off for the end of the episode? Anything that's going on with 10 Month Summer? Anything else that you've got going on that you specifically want to mention? Now is the time to do it.
I bet the entire band fund on the NCAA bracket. So if you want to Venmo us any amount to get us out of the hole, let me know. I thought I could pay for our next round of finals with like a couple good upset picks. Did not pan out. So
unfortunate.
Yeah, Clemson winning the whole thing for some reason.
You took St. John's to win the whole.
I put U of I number one, baby. Illini till I die, and it's just not going to happen. So I also had the Bulls, making the 5 seed this year too. So again, we are just in a deep gambling debt. Anytime you want to buy or stream 10 Month Summer stuff, please do it. I've got collections calling me every day, so please. God, please.
Please save Nish's kneecaps.
Nish actually
singular. My other knee's already busted, so I only got one good one left.
Yeah. R.I.P. Yeah, me and Nish were talking about the Bulls the other day, and he was just talking about how like happy he was about that trade with the Thunder that happened last year, and how glad he was to have Josh Giddey on the team. He was like Josh Giddey is my favorite player in the NBA. I love him. He is great. He's great at basketball. He's a good character
to
on
a degree,
and off the
but I have lines, Sam. I'm anti-Josh. Give me Caruso back. I miss him. I don't care that he put up a great stat line against the Lakers. Whatever. I want Alex Caruso back.
Yeah, no. Nish has he's been like, Michael Jordan who?
Please. Okay, they're gonna kill me for this.
They're gonna get for
yeah.
They're going to be coming for you after this episode. It's fine. We made some enemies on the last episode too. It's okay.
Who are we without our enemies, But really just thank you for doing this and for having us on. I mean, you're part of that word of mouth, for so many bands, not just us, like an opportunity to speak about anything at all of what we do outside of like our shows is a huge privilege and opportunity, and so we're really grateful for people like yourselves who take the time to like put this together. It's not an easy effort either, like you certainly are not getting the monetary value you deserve from this as well, and so we're very grateful that you have taken such a chunk of your evening to hang out with us yappers here.
Of course, I had such a great time.
Yeah, this was fun.
Hell yeah. Of course. And on that note, remember to listen to Fate Lines by 10 Month Summer. This has been the Fresh Finds Podcast, the show about discovering new music with good people.